Yo, what's good, guys? I hope everyone is doing well. Firstly, to anybody new to the channel, mad love and respect for passing through. My name is Tino. Welcome to A Trader's Reality. Secondly, my pattern watchers, what's good, gang? I hope you are all very well. Mad love and respect to all of you passing through and showing love to the channel. So, what's the purpose of this video today? We're going to summarize what Bitcoin's been doing lately. We're going to look at the key levels that it's come away from, and we're going to look at the levels that it's likely to take from now over into the weekend. Now, we know the weekend is a bit of a tricky time to trade. Low liquidity, high volatility. Now, we focus primarily on 3 days of the week. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Why? Because it's the best time to trade. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not able to take anything from the market in those 3 days, do not try it at the weekend. Unless you are proficient, unless you are sound in your understanding of any strategy that you apply, okay? For day traders in particular, the luxury of being able to trade at the weekends, it's no other option for some people. And we have to be aware of that. So if the weekend is a time that you can trade, just be mindful. Any profit that you get, pay yourself, man. Because you never knew for a fact that it was going to be a profitable position. Take whatever the market gives you, because there will always be another opportunity. Sounds cliche, and you probably hear many people saying, always pay yourself, take your profits, or sometimes they actually say, cut your losses and let your profits run. Yeah, it's good to let your profits run, but also it's good to bank some of it and protect it. If there's one thing that I talk about, ladies and gentlemen, it's always about paying yourselves. So let's roll out and find out what's been going on with Bitcoin to understand what is likely to happen next. So we have come from a weekly cycle. The M formation that started last week on a Thursday. Funnily enough, Thursday is the midweek reversal point. M formation appears, Bitcoin hits the high, comes back down, forms a drop, level 1. Retraces back up, recovery of the vector candle zone right here, comes back down, level 2. Now we understand that we need to see 3 cycles to the downside or to the upside to establish a cyclical move. If you look at this right here, this is the pattern for a weekly trading, for the trading on a weekly basis. All right. You've got Sunday, Monday. All right. You got rise level 1, rise level 2, rise level 3, peak formation. Drop level 1, drop level 2, drop level 3, peak formation. Now, the key thing is where are we at the cycle? Now, we could be at the start of a M formation on a Friday. It could be on a Monday. It could be on a Tuesday. There will always be a variation of it. There is nothing static about the cycles. They can start one cycle completely from a different cycle. It's all variable. And the idea of watching charts is to try and pick up points in the chart where you make the assumption that we could be forming a cycle from the M formation or from the W formation. Looking at Bitcoin from the start of Thursday last week, where the midweek reversal happened, we started a cyclical move to the downside. 1 drop, rise. 2 drops, rise. 3 drops going into a formation. So are we at the start of a new peak formation? That's the key thing about this. Will Bitcoin actually try and make a move back up? Okay. Hit the 50 EMA in this zone and then trail down ever so slightly to form the second leg of a W formation. Or is Bitcoin actually just going to bleed out and continue down lower? Because remember, guys, we have been needing this correction. If you look at the daily time frame itself, forgive all the lines and what have you, you can see bright as day. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of this. What on earth is that? Oh, that's a Fibonacci. Get rid of that. You can see in the daily chart what we've got. We've got a bigger cycle. We've got the W formation, rise level 1 drop, rise level 2 drop. We are still expecting another cyclical move to the upside. Now, the thing about cycles on the bigger time frame, okay, is the pullbacks can be as deep as they want them to be. For this cyclical retrace, which would be a level 2 drop, it can go all the way down to this point right here. It can come all the way down to 41 and it will still be deemed as a valid level. Why? Because it hasn't broken the previous level. So in other words, if they move price back down to this point in the chart right here, that's where by principle they would have accumulated the same amount of orders interest to come in at this point here. Now that's on the basis that Bitcoin actually breaks below the 200 EMA. The last time it hit the 200, it bounced away from it. Now, as you can see on the daily time frame, you can see that the violet vector candle here is implying that volume is starting to drop, but it could also mean that volume is starting to rise to the downside. But we understand the violet candle implies that something is about to change. You see, the aggression of moving price down lower was made with conviction. They wanted lower prices. The next candle day itself implied a stop start, so they continued with that move yesterday and they dropped down lower, but there was not that much aggression to move price down lower. Look at the volume. It was less than what the previous amount was right here. Okay? So is this one of the turning points in the chart? Could that be the case? Flipping over to the Bitcoin net unrealized profit and losses in the glass node itself, over the past 24 hours, you can see that the psychological state that traders and holders are currently in with unrealized profits and losses, they are in a state of denial still. Okay? As you can see on the far right, if I zoom into it, you'll see it. There it is right there. When it's pointing to the downside, it implies that traders are in a state of denial. Now, given that Bitcoin has actually moved up now, at 12 o'clock tonight, this will update. Now, if it points back up, we will understand. So if I zoom in closer, if it points back up, the retail trader, the holders, anyone with unrealized profits and losses in the chart, okay, if it's pointing back up, the belief will be triggered. So they will then be of the belief that price is going to continue back up to try and make another all-time high. But right now, in the last 24 hours, traders are still in denial. They don't think it can go down any lower. They are in denial as to the fact that they don't want to close any of their profits because they think it's going to continue higher. That's what this measures. All right? Looking at Bitcoin, the price temperature itself, okay, you can see bright as day that we are now coming towards the median of this band, of this line right here. Now, the principle behind this reading right here tells you that when price is in this high zone right here, it's where the temperature of the price is at its highest point. So it could imply that things are going to change. All right? When it's down at the lows, this blue area here, it implies that there is a cold, a reduction, and things are likely to change. All right? So we're looking for the disparity between the two. Right now, we're at the midpoint. All right? So something is going to turn. It's either going to turn back to the upside or it's going to turn to the downside. And that can be worked out based on price action itself and the psychological state of mind of traders at this point in time. All right? Looking at the liquidations as well. So if I bring up the dashboard, we're going to have a look at liquidations. Let me just roll that there and search. Liquidations on Bitcoin from yesterday. So the long liquidations. More liquidations. If you watched yesterday's video, we would have spoken about this actually coming up as a result of yesterday. So a lot of longs got liquidated. $82,221,673 worth of liquidations. Okay. What you want to try and find with this is if the longs are getting liquidated, are they encouraging people to go short? It's not looking like it, is it? Not many people are being liquidated short. Why? Because not many people are short right now. Only a few people may be going short. And with Bitcoin's movement back up, are they getting liquidated? Are they getting hit to the upside? Okay. Are those shorts that have been coming in the price as it's been dropping, are they getting liquidated right now? Is this the point in the chart where the market maker comes back and hits the 50 EMA, to hit the liquidation points for the shorts to the downside so that he can realize a return on his longs and release the liquidity from the liquidation points of the shorts to start opening up shorts again and then start to turn price back down again to install in the retail trader who got stopped out on this move to the downside that price is going to continue down lower again. So by principle, we are expecting Bitcoin to come up to the 50 and potentially pull back down and try and form another cyclical pattern from this area here, which would be consistent with the retrace of the vector candle zone in the chart, as you can see. Now, last night, I gave a projection. This was a projection towards the patrons of the channel. And we were talking about Bitcoin doing this. And this was from just shortly after the stream from last night. Now, based on the book map, now the book map itself gives you a lot of information regarding what Bitcoin is doing with orders to the upside and to the downside, okay? And as you can see, there is a lot of orders currently sat in this zone, okay? We just had a few orders get cancelled in the chart, and that was a lot of liquidity getting cancelled. So what could that mean? Could that mean that there's not that much interest up to see price go higher? Look at that. You see that there? It disappeared. They cancelled those orders. Zooming further out in the chart, you can see, though, that the 58.2 and towards the 58.3 zone, that's where the liquidity is. So these are all limit orders. So people are committing money into the chart and they're waiting for them to get filled. Had a conversation today with the actual vice president of marketing for the book map and the CEO of the education with the book map platform itself. And the way that we've been talking about the book map, we've been pretty much given the go ahead that we're looking at this the correct way. Okay? And it was quite humbling. It was a good thing to actually have a conversation with the creators of this platform. So if you are you want to consider getting Bookmap, make your way over to bookmap.com. Google it, check it out. There's a paid version, there's a free version. But only get involved with Bookmap if you think that it's actually worth your time, because you are seeing the live orders coming into the chart right now. Okay? That's the order book on the right here. Now, this is Bitcoin across 5 platforms. So we've got a better overview of the orders coming in. Where are people favoring Bitcoin? Limit sells, limit buys. You can see these orders here are made up of 81 Bitcoin, 27 Bitcoin, 41. We've got a 93 Bitcoin in the order book up here. 78 and 80 Bitcoins are coming into the order book cumulatively across 5 platforms. Okay? Something's going to happen. They're going to break through the 58.3 zone because of the liquidity that is currently being left in the chart itself. So we could make the assumption that if Bitcoin does actually go back up to that point, okay, where would that be in the chart? So if there is liquidity at 58.3 and 58.500, we look to the chart itself and say, okay, then so what's at 58.500? Range daily high, vector recovery zone. Yeah? That is the point in the chart where things will change. Why? Because if the book map is saying that orders are coming in at that point, look, 58.500 has just had another ton of orders coming in. Okay? The book map is showing positive volume, 20% favoring limit buys. Okay? So orders are coming in. They're trying to get those limits hit. All right? The imbalance is showing favoring limit sells. Okay? So it's skewed to the limit side, but people and volume is coming into the chart. So by principle, we expect Bitcoin to rise. That's what we have right now in front of us. That's the information that we've got. Looking at the chart, previous vector candle zone, breaking above the 50 EMA. You see, by principle, if they do hit that point in the chart, when they pull away from it, orders should come back in to support it to continue to move price up. Which is why I say to you guys, it's important that the 5 and the 13 EMA, that they cross over in the first instance, which is what's happened right now. You can see they've crossed over. Now we're waiting for price to break above the 50 EMA. The moment price breaks above the 50 EMA and makes an attempt higher, you want to see price pull back down, test the 50, and bounce away from it. However, if that doesn't happen, price will likely come back down to this point in the chart and formulate a W formation, preparing price for the weekend so that next week we then see some interesting movement and potentially see Bitcoin move back up to the upside. Okay? So that's Bitcoin for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at what's going on across the board. So looking at the altcoins themselves, fantastic behavior by Loopring. Happy days. Look at that. Great movement back up. Now we have come to the range daily high. So normally when price hits the range daily high, expect it to pull back from this point because it would have exceeded its maximum range for the session. Okay? Doesn't mean that it can't stop going higher, but it implies that at this point in the chart, it's made a big move. So what point does the market maker decide to turn? Okay? We can bring up the book map and we can type in here and say, all right, we want to see Loopring data on Binance. Sorry, let's type in LRC and we can see where we are with that information. Roll out over here, wait for it to populate. And here we go. So where is the liquidity? So the liquidity as it stands right now is at the 2.79 zone. Where's price? 2.77. So we're at the highest point in the chart. Principally what we're waiting for is a little bit of a pullback and orders to start coming into the chart on the limit side to encourage us to believe that price will probably try and continue higher. But because of how much of an extended move we've made to the upside, we could be seeing a little bit of a retrace. And if the retrace comes in, then the order of interest that's coming into this coin right now will step in, which will then by principle encourage price to move higher. 25% gain for the session. That's great news. There you go. You see that there? Pushing price in. Limit orders staying static in the chart right here. All right. You can see there is an imbalance favoring limit buys. Volume is actually dropping down to the sell side. Okay. So it's pulling back. But look, you can see, look, there you go. Triggering those orders. 278. 279's been filled. Now orders are coming back in again into the chart. Now 208 stepping in. So there you go. Look at that. See how quick they're moving. Look how quick those orders right there are principally bots placing orders, making sure that they can get the fills in quick time. Okay. Hits the zone, pulls back, tests the conviction of traders, and then moves back up. Because by principle, these orders right here that got filled, okay, should get triggered when price comes down to that zone. There it was right there. You see that? Principally, those orders are getting filled right here. When they pull price back down, the interest should come in. That should help you understand the basis of whether this is going to continue higher or not. Those are the things that you're looking for in the book map. Okay? As I said, if you want to get book map, there's a web-based version. And there's obviously, you can download the free version of this as well. Just go and Google it. Check it out. Bookmap.com. Show some love to bookmap. Okay? Next, Trias. Noticing a bit of a common theme. Most altcoins are coming back from the previous day's drop. Okay, all red vector candle being completely recovered in Trias. Looking at the pattern itself, you can see it's gone beyond the 800 EMA. And the fact that they dropped below all the moving averages and the moving averages have pretty much stayed flat, all right, tells me that yesterday's move was a bit of a retrace or fake move to the downside so they could set price up to get it cheaper at the lowest possible point at the highest range. Okay. FTM itself spiking up. Look at that, above the range daily high. They may even try and take yesterday's high if the strength is current in this chart. All right. But just remember, they're probably trying to come away from this zone so that they can set price up over the weekend to anticipate a return back to the vector zone. So I need to just get my indicators back up. This is free of charge as well, ladies and gentlemen. If you are new to the channel, you do get access to this information. Just hit us up in the Discord and you'll be able to get that information free. Okay, you can add these indicators to your trading view. So these are the liquidity pools that they are potentially trying to work their way back towards. All right. Windlink's doing really well. Okay. Really well with this coin. It's coming and making its way back up towards this zone. It's got some other pools of liquidity that it needs to go to. But here, look at this. It's now gone back up to its range weekly low. Now, whenever you see this happening, right? It implies that there's a lot of strength behind this coin. Look how perfect the W formation forms on here. Absolutely wonderful pattern at the 800 EMA. Okay, for every retrace back down, it pushes price back up, and the market maker is stepping in at these key zones, which when you look at it in light of the book map itself, fundamentally you're seeing these areas of where the book map has filled limit orders, they're coming into the chart. Okay, so that's the principle behind that. OMG. See, the problem that I've got here is with a coin like OMG, when you see a sharp move like this, it's always going to pull back down. Going back to FTM and then going back to Trias and Loop Ring, you can see that the move is nice and progressive, okay? You've got one candle, then another, then another. But OMG, sharp move up, okay? Recovery of the vector zone and then another stop hunt rise pulling back. Principle will say that price is going to come back up towards this zone in the chart. And that's where it's going to make a decision as to whether it does follow through and try and hit the range daily high, which sits at the previous pools of liquidity. So there is a lot of retracements back up today, and that's all courtesy of Bitcoin moving higher as well. Okay, so that is the disparity right there. It seems as though that when Bitcoin rises up, everything else continues with their moves to the upside. Okay, Shiba seems to be doing pretty well as well. She's also trying to make her way above the 800 EMA in anticipation towards the range daily high. Any coins that haven't hit the range daily high just yet on, they've got it in sight. There is a high probability that they may come back to those points in the chart. Okay, so just be mindful and keep an eye out on price action right there. All right, BNB. It's taking a bit of a battering and it has dropped down lower, okay, but it's now coming back up to previous pools of liquidity. Whenever price does go above the 50 EMA, always anticipate a retrace continuation to the upside if the move is valid to the upside. Always wait for the retrace, ladies and gentlemen, because the retrace is going to tell you whether or not this move is just a fake move to the upside to prepare price to drop back down to this pool of liquidity. Now, remember, we're going into the weekend. So they've got every reason to come back down here because it's going to have low liquidity, okay, and high volatility. So just keep an eye out on that, ladies and gentlemen. Going across to the coins of the metaverse, okay, you can see we've got some good winners right there. RFOX, nice move to the upside. I like this coin. Cool coin. Nice utility behind it. You've got Mana. Mana's gone and hit that $4 zone. All right, happy days. If you look at Mana on the higher time frames itself, they are working that wick, and we've been waiting for them to come up towards the $5 mark, expecting it to come and hit that zone before it actually starts to change direction. Now, it could actually come up to that point, retrace continuation to the upside, given that, you know, the gaming in crypto is actually starting to explode. All right, Engine Coin. Look at that. Great strength to the upside over the past hour. It's been moving above the range daily high. That's what you want to see. Got a pool of liquidity in sight for them to take, so keep an eye out on Engine Coin. Bosun pulling straight back. Okay, you can see that it's looking like it wants to try and formulate an M formation, come back down, but it's stabilizing at the previous pool of liquidity that it had based from. Okay, but it's lower than what the last one was. So you've got to be careful of that. Sand. Again, Sand. Unbelievable. It's just loving the retrace continuation up. This is what you want to see. You want to see a slow trend, true trend move. When it pulls back, continues back up. Now we've got a little bit of a mini retrace down to the 5 and 13. It's already hit the range daily high and pulled away from it. Will it actually make another attempt towards that zone? Okay. Alice is really the star of the show for me. Came back and hit those previous zones. We've been talking about Alice in the previous altcoin bosses video, so go check those out. And they hit both pools of liquidity in the chart that we've been waiting for them to take out. So Alice is now at the pullback on the 50 EMA, showing a potential W formation at the 50 EMA. Now, this is pretty strong because if it does pull away from this zone, this move is going to break out and start taking out these pools of liquidity right here. So wait for the confirmation, ladies and gentlemen. You want to see vector candles appearing in these zones to confirm that they are favoring higher price. Okay? Going back to Bitcoin, and we're going to look at Ethereum as well. Ethereum did take a bleed to the downside, but what do the market makers do? They like to get these coins cheaper at the highest possible point with the lowest range. All right. Holding perfectly. Wow. God, I thought that was a different moving average. It's just my drawings. W formation appearing below the 50 and the 800 and 200 EMA. All right. They may be coming out fast from this zone. Okay, a lot of support seems to be coming into this point in the chart. Just be careful because of where we are in the weekend. Expect the retrace to happen. And if the true move is valid, then we will see Ethereum moving back up, at least towards the 800 EMA. It does need to break above the 800 EMA to solidify momentum to the upside. But we do have these pools of liquidity right here. Okay? Now, across the board, guys, with Bitcoin, all right? Just remember, until price goes above the 50 EMA, we ain't got no cigar moments yet. Until it does that, sit tight. We can premeditate the move to the upside to take at least this pool of liquidity. When it hits this pool of liquidity, we will know where we stand with Bitcoin. Now, if today was Tuesday, there'd be a good chance that they break through the 50 EMA, come back down, retrace, and then continue up because there's still more sessions ahead. But because it's Friday, we're going into the weekend, things can get a little bit tricky. So just be careful. If they do decide to break down from the 50 EMA, okay, at most we would need to see them hold at the 55k zone, okay? So we just need to be mindful of that because that does sit at the range daily low. New York is way on its way, okay? So we're not seeing any surprises from New York. So just be mindful of that, ladies and gentlemen, all right? Remember, on the higher time frame, we are expecting another cyclical move to the upside. We're using the smaller time frames to understand how that move is going to develop. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I won't be streaming, but I will be doing a video later on for you guys to summarize what's been going on with price of Bitcoin from now up until that point. Okay? But I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Mad love and respect to anybody new to the channel. And if you have actually sat through this whole thing, thank you very much. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will catch up with you guys later on. Take care of yourselves. Peace.